Welcome. Before we begin, do know that a lot of the information within this video comes from the three fingers or agents of the three fingers, which means they can all easily be lies, as the three fingers themselves is a force of chaos, and their agents are not much better. So take the information I gathered in this video with a grain of salt, because that's just how obscure the flames are. So I want to tackle the flames of the game, namely the Frenzied Flame, the God-slaying Black Flame, and the Flame of Ruin, or the Giant's Flame. And maybe to an extent the Taker's Flame, but this one is more of an extra because we only get it from Rykard. But after going through the lore of these flames, it was pretty convoluted to talk about all of them in one video. So I'm splitting it up so the videos can be more hyper-focused on each of the flames, with this first video being about the Frenzied Flame. So make sure to subscribe if you want to see more about the flames. Now the reason I wanted to start with the Frenzied Flame is because unlike the God-slaying Black Flame or the Flame of Ruin, the Frenzied Flame is part of the Order. It is technically speaking coming from the same place as the Greater Will, albeit it is said that it was created as a mistake. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. First, let's answer the question. What is the Frenzied Flame? The simple answer is that it is Chaos Incarnate. It is the opposite of the Golden Order. Where the two fingers are the agents of order, the three fingers are the agents of chaos. It is difficult to say for sure if the words of the three fingers can be trusted, seeing as they are chaos itself. But at the end of Hyetta's questline, she divines the words of the three fingers for us.
The flame of chaos has nestled within you. Could you please rest your hand upon me, burn me with the flame, to make me your maiden? Oh, it burns. My eyes, they're melting. Thank you. I have touched them. The words of the three fingers. As your maiden, allow me to divine them. All that there is came from the one great. Then came fractures, and births, and souls. But the greater will made a mistake. Torment, despair, affliction, every sin, every curse, every one born of the mistake. And so, what was borrowed must be returned, melted all away with the yellow chaos flame, until all is one again. Those who gave me grace howled without words, saying they wished they were never born. Become their lord, take their torment, despair, their affliction, every sin, every curse, and melt it all away. As the Lord of Chaos, no more fractures, no more birth.
The Greater Will borrowed power from something known as the One Great. Using that power, it sent the Elden Beast down from the stars and created the Elden Ring. And with that, fractures, births, and souls. But it made a mistake, which we don't know what that mistake is. It could be a number of things, to be honest. Like maybe choosing Marika as the vessel for the Elden Ring, the shattering of the Elden Ring, or maybe even something far before the time of the Erd Tree. It's pretty open to speculation. But born from this mistake was torment, despair, affliction, sin, and curses. Because of this, the three fingers was either sent down or came down by itself to basically erase everything the greater will had done, so that either it can start over or abandon its creation entirely. But basically, the three fingers' purpose is to burn everything away so that it is all returned to the one great. The one who told us this is Hyetta, who is a blind girl who seeks to fulfill her duty as a finger maiden. She had seen the distant light of the Frenzied Flame, and the more Shabriri grapes that she ate, the closer she got to the three fingers. The distant light that she saw would lead her to nomads under the influence of the Frenzied Flame, who would donate their Shabriri grapes to her, and eventually it would lead her to the Tarnished, who is destined to be Lord. We would give her the final grapes that she needs. We also reveal to her the truth of what she has been eating: human eyes. And though in the start it sickened her, the madness that was growing within her would supersede her disgust, and she would come to liken the taste of the eyes. But who would lead her to this path? Was the distant light truly a sign for her to follow? Or perhaps it was a manipulation by one most revile? It is very likely that the three fingers came to the lands between alongside the two fingers, but it might not have had a physical form. Thus, it could not spread the Frenzied Flame, at least not until it found perch within the first apostle and the incarnation of chaos itself, Shabriri, the most reviled man in all history. Though we don't know much about him, we know he is a manipulative being. This is evident in our first meeting with him.
Finally, we meet the Tarnished, the would-be Lord. Oh my. Why the long face? I fear that you were previously acquainted with this vessel. Well, that is most unfortunate, for he is dead. As for his flesh, he gave it to me. Shabriri, I hope you can make your peace with that. You are about to sacrifice something precious, the life of a fair maiden, that you would toss into the fiery forge, only so that you may be Lord. What a horrible thing to ponder. Your ascendancy requires her sacrifice, whether she wishes it or not. But how would the Lord, crowned soul, be looked upon? Chosen, tarnished, and would-be Lord, dare to tread the path of true rigor, spare the poor girl, and singe your own flesh in her stead. If you are prepared to show resolve and attain lordship through righteous hardship, then heed the words of I, Shabriri. Chosen, tarnished, and would-be Lord, descend into the depths far below the Erdtree capital. Seek audience with the three fingers and the flame of frenzy. If you inherit the flame of frenzy, your flesh will serve as kindling, and the girl can be spared, setting you on the righteous path of lordship, the path of the Lord of Chaos. Burn the Erdtree to the ground and incinerate all that divides and distinguishes. Ah, may chaos take the world. May chaos take the world!
His words are filled with lies and manipulations, showing concern for our relationship with Yura, telling us that Yura willingly gave his body, which is likely a lie, trying to convince us that Melina's sacrifice is a vile act, that Melina herself has no choice in the matter. Again, another lie. and telling us how this greed and action would make us look like a terrible lord. Lastly, conveniently providing us a solution by meeting the three fingers. Though his intent is very clear by the end of it, because he doesn't really hide his ties to chaos. This is only one of the manipulations Shabriri would do that we actually witness. He has done far worse in the history of the lands between. The wandering merchants that we purchase items from are all haunted by the Frenzied Flame, and it is my belief that it is also Shabriri who put this curse upon them. The Shabriri's woe item description tells us that it is said that the man named Shabriri had his eyes gouged out as punishment for the crime of slander, and with time, the blight of the flame of frenzy came to dwell in the empty sockets. Slander is a crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person or group's reputation. Which group did he slander? The great caravan of the nomadic merchants. The nomadic set tells us that these merchants once thrived as the great caravan, but after being accused of heretical beliefs, their clan was rounded up and buried alive far underground. Then they chanted a curse of despair and summoned the flame of frenzy. It was Shabriri's manipulations that the merchants have been cursed by the frenzied flame, and it is by this act of sacrifice by the great caravan that the three fingers came to be able to manifest themselves deep within the underground. Shabriri, however, could not become a lord for reasons unknown. Perhaps it's because he had shed his humanity, or maybe because he was not tarnished, or didn't have the grace to become a lord. As such, instead, he would find one to become lord, the Lord of Chaos. Before us, there were those who came close to becoming an Elden Lord, but no other tarnished was closer to the throne of the Elden Lord than Vike. But without announcement, Vike traveled far below the capital and was scorched by the flame of frenzy. Did he make his choice for his maiden, or did some other force lure him with a suggestion? I think it's pretty safe to assume that Vike probably met Shabriri and lured him to become a Lord of Chaos like he did with us. Unfortunately for Vike, he could not handle the frenzied flame either. This maiden that we see at the church is probably his maiden. And believers who wished to see him as the Lord of Chaos were disappointed when he failed. The village is also scorched by the frenzied flame. A tower where the flame itself manifests through a ritual sits at the entrance of the village. If you kill the enemies on top, you can stop the flame from appearing. It is also here that you come across the Shabriri's Woe talisman, guarded by some Carian soldiers afflicted with the flame. Shabriri's Woe attracts the aggression of enemies, and the Carian soldiers may have been lured here by the carrier of the talisman. It is also here that we find a note that gives us a clue where to find the three fingers. Shabriri had cast his humanity away long ago, and has become something more. Even if you kill him at the mountaintop of giants, should you pursue the frenzied flame, he will return to assist you in the fight against Godfrey, to further your goal as the Lord of Chaos. Now that you know the machinations of Shabriri, we can look at the damage it has done to the lands between. In Limgrave, there is a village known as the Ailing Village, filled with nomads who are now corrupted by the Frenzied Flame. In the Frenzied Flame village, more nomads appear, also corrupted. The nomadic merchants are forever forced to be nomads, as it seems that settling down in a village or anywhere causes the Frenzied Flame to catch up to them, scorching their eyes and eroding their senses. Within the blasphemous volcano Mount Gelmir, the Frenzied Flame has also perched upon the trolls and the soldiers of Leyndell, corrupting them as they get closer to the manor. Roykard has invited all forms of blasphemy within his realm, and the Frenzied Flame is but one of these. In the consecrated snowfield, some ruins have been corrupted by the flames. Perhaps even the Three Fingers is wary of the young Miquella and his creation that wards off the influence of outer gods. And lastly, at the bottom of Leyndell, where the Three Fingers dwell within, the corpses of the great caravan still sit upon the area, haunting the depths with music. To make our way down here is proof of our capability to become Lord, but to accept the Frenzied Flame is a trial on its own. Melina would beg us not to seek the Three Fingers, for their rule would spell the doom of the world, much worse than even destined death. Should you ignore her plea, the Frenzied Flame can be yours to inherit. Strangely enough, even if you are the Lord of Chaos, the Frenzied Flame still burns you. Perhaps none can truly control the madness within the flames. In order to save Melina, we embrace the Frenzied Flame. We use ourselves as the kindling for the giant's flame as we burn the Erd Tree. If you killed Millicent and were unable to create Miquella's needle, then we can no longer get away from the influence of the Frenzied Flame, and the fate of the lands between is sealed. The only factor now is if Melina is alive or not. If Melina is alive, then she may yet be able to stop us from destroying the world. Shabriri helps us take down Godfrey, and Radagon is but a stepping stone for a true Lord of Chaos. It is here that we must burn the world, end the divide, and return everything to the One Great. We, the chosen tarnished, champion of the Three Fingers, ascend and become...